Superhero movies are full of moments that are powerful and epic and inspiring, and others that aren't. But let's face it, a lot of you watching this right now didn't encounter these classic characters for the first time through their movies, or their shows, or their action-packed video games, or even their Subway tie-in comics. Be honest, you met them through their memes. There's nothing the internet loves more than taking an old comic book panel and laughing at how stupid it looks out of context. But plot twist, sometimes that context is even stupider. We're talking about the Joker's boner fixation, Captain America's public wanking, and the time Batman got slap happy with his little buddy. This is CanonBall. Number 6, the Joker and Batman's boner war. Sooner or later, everyone with an internet connection is exposed to the "I'll show them how many boners the Joker can make" panel, the product of a more innocent time when the word boner meant mistake. As in, boy, it sure was a boner to say boner like 30 times in this Batman comic. Batman number 66 from 1951 is packed with more boners than a bumpy bus ride. In the story, the Joker not only pulls off a series of crimes based on famous boners from history, as in blunders, you weirdos, but he also tries to force Batman into a boner of his own. Robin and Commissioner Gordon are quite worried about the boner that Joker has in store for Batman, but Batman doesn't seem terribly concerned about the veritable boner storm coming his way. In order to stop the Joker, Batman and Robin decide to study the great boners of all time. The story ends when the Joker gets so distracted thinking about Batman's boner that he fails to notice his own. In the end, not even the comic's token teenager wants to hear the word boner again, which is probably the biggest boner of all. And while we're on that tasteful subject, number 5, Captain America is commanded to wank. If the Marvel movies were completely accurate, every time Chris Evans tosses his shield, you'd hear a guy yelling the word wank.
Stand back, it's wanking time.
Yep, according to 1989's Captain America number 366, that's officially the sound effect Captain America's shield makes. Personally, we think it's more of a wang or a dong, but that would be gross.
Wank, wank, wank.
And yet, what's even more unnerving than Captain America wanking everywhere, under the comic's own logic, the villains could actually have commanded Cap to wank for real, exposing the readers to a very different kind of super soldier serum.
I seem to be a bit stiff.
You see, the dude getting bossy with Captain America in that classic panel is called The Voice, and his buddy, who's gonna need dental surgery, is the Controller. The latter sounds like a villain who can make superheroes spontaneously develop Nintendo thumb. But no, both characters have the power to control minds.
I am ready to obey your every command.
Meaning that technically they do have the ability to make other people jerk it on demand, if that would help everyone get real relaxed so they could take over the world or whatever. So we're lucky that Cap didn't drop his pants right there. So who knows, maybe Chris Evans left the franchise because they asked him to recreate this scene and he said,
No, I don't think I will.
Wank.
Cap might be kind of a prude, but there are other Marvel characters who love to get, horny. Number 4, Dr. Doom toots as he pleases. Ah yes, the moment Dr. Doom cemented his status as the most evil being in the Marvel Universe by tooting the horn, despite specifically being told not to. If you're thinking this was part of some sinister plan that was taken out of context to make Doom look ridiculous, nope. This entire comic is ridiculous, because it was part of Spidey Super Stories, a series designed to hook 6-year-olds on Marvel Comics by introducing them to fun characters like that guy who wants to kill half the universe and also owns a helicopter with his name on it. You know, so it can be returned to him in case he ever misplaces it. Anyway, Spidey number 53 from 1981 starts with Dr. Doom running into Namor, Prince of Atlantis, and immediately proposing that they conquer the world together. Namor doesn't feel like it, because he probably had other swimming-related stuff to do that day, so Doom slaps a mind control collar on him and forces him to fight Spidey, as the comic solely refers to him, because Marvel thought the word Spider-Man was too complicated for their target audience. Later, Doom is captivated by a horn hanging in Namor's throne room and rudely blows on it against Namor's wishes. This causes a large underwater creature to show up, possibly because its mating call happens to sound like toot. Doom looks at the monster, which is barely bigger than a truck, and announces that he'll use it to conquer the entire world somehow. This scene makes way more sense if the horn is actually the Atlantean equivalent of a meth pipe and Doom is completely tripping balls. Luckily for mankind, Namor breaks the toot horn with Spidey's help, causing the monster to drag a helpless Doom to his underwater lair. At this point, the quote-unquote heroes just sort of assume that Doom must have enough air in his armor for whatever the monster is planning to do with him down there, so they don't even try to help him. That's what you get when you toot Namor's things without permission. It's always important to get consent when dealing with these tricky situations. Always look for affirmative phrases like, number 3, Superman's "Punish me, Daddy!" If you hadn't seen this one before, well, good luck for getting it now. This panel is from 1971's World's Finest number 201 by Denny O'Neil, a writer acclaimed for spicing up superhero comics with socially relevant topics like drugs and racism. In this case, the social issue O'Neil wanted to raise awareness of was, what if Superman and Green Lantern were complete dumbasses?
I must kiss you to erase your memories.
The story starts with Supes and Lantern arguing over who gets to stop a meteor shower. They hold a contest to determine who gets to be Earth's protector. Part of the contest involves facing a vision of their biggest fears. Green Lantern sees a big yellow spider, because he's yellow-phobic, obviously. And Superman sees his dad, who's now a giant and wants to spank him. Why? Because he's disappointed in Superman for becoming a superhero instead of a scientist, and not even Superman is immune to nagging parents who think he should have gone to med school. Sure, he saves way more people in his current job, but he probably still can't get into the fancy country clubs. Superman agrees that he screwed up with his career choice and lets himself be spanked for a while, before slowly realizing that his giant, undead dad is probably an illusion. Of course, the whole competition turns out to be an elaborate ruse by a villain, so in the end, no one's the winner. Well, except comic book readers with a very specific fetish. And if the internet has shown us anything, some of you guys are now winners too. By the way, speaking of super family members smacking each other around, number 2, the Fantastic Four's domestic abuse problem. No, this panel wasn't created just to be used as a reaction image during internet arguments. It comes from Fantastic Four number 280 and 281 from 1985, in which the Invisible Woman is brainwashed and turned into an S&M-loving villain called Malice.
Malice, mistress of hate.
In fact, all of New York City is being mind-controlled into becoming uncharacteristically violent and rude. But for some reason, she's the only one who wears a sexy outfit, something Marvel's female heroes keep doing.
Although you do look fetching in black. Johnny, take the controls.
I'm all over it. Cool.
Oh no!
How come Wolverine never starts wearing a banana hammock whenever he turns evil? Pretty soon, the Fantastic Four's fearless leader, Reed Richards, comes up with a convenient device that can stop the collective violence before all of New York punches itself to death.
Cool it, Sanchez, or you'll get a knuckle supper.
But his mind-controlled wife shows up to stop him. Reed, being a genius, realizes that her feelings are simply inverted, and she's only acting like that because deep down, she loves him. Adorable. Less adorably, Reed decides that the best way to break the spell is to make her hate him, and the best way to do that is to talk like a YouTuber ranting about feminism. Unfortunately, words alone don't seem to be working, so our hero slaps his wife. You know, for the good of mankind. This sets her right, and she's back in his arms in no time. So the moral here is, sometimes you have to slap a B word for her own good, because B words be crazy. A perfectly sensible storyline, and definitely not something that was written backwards from the slapping panel after the artist drew it for his own personal amusement one night. And speaking of slapping those weaker than us, number 1, Batman slaps a child. An annoying one, but still, a child. Long after all other Batman media is forgotten, the image of a guy in a pointy-eared cowl slapping a child while yelling, "My parents are dead!" will continue spreading throughout the cosmos. What you might not know is that the slap is like the least insane part of that story. World's Finest number 153 from 1965 is a, quote, imaginary story which shows us what would happen if Batman grew up thinking his dad was murdered by Superboy, an extremely specific question no comic book reader had ever wondered about, ever. In this reality, Bruce Wayne becomes Batman for the specific purpose of screwing with Superman. When Robin tells him that's the stupidest thing he's ever heard, Batman not only slaps the little brat, but also wipes his memory and sends him back to the orphanage with all the regret of someone returning a defective Furby. We're guessing he also left the orphanage a negative Yelp review for hooking him up with such a dud in the first place. Shockingly, it turns out that Superboy didn't murder a rich Gotham City doctor for no reason. A young Lex Luthor accidentally did it while clumsily piloting a remote-controlled Superboy robot. Upon realizing that he's been living a lie, Batman goes, haha, whoops, and breaks Superman out of the kryptonite case, getting shot by Luthor in the process. Batman dies moments later, at peace with the fact that Superman was innocent, and also that he's a massive moron who wasted his entire life. As for Robin, presumably he was haunted by inexplicable nightmares about a giant man-baby slapping him for the rest of his miserable amnesiac existence. Okay, the end. Bye comics, kids. The jerker? How do you even come back from something like that? Oh hey, thanks for watching this episode of CanonBall. If you liked it, make sure you hit like, hit subscribe, ring the bell, and jump in the comments and let us know about some of your favorite comic book maymays. Memes? It's a stupid word.